Welcome back once again, my lords, ladies, and lieges, to another episode of Zodiac Reads, the series where Zodiac finds things to read on the internet and then, well, he reads them for you. Surprise to probably no one, we are back on r/RPG horror stories, but this time with a certain Am I the Asshole story that I'm very delighted to share with you here. For those unaware, Am I the Asshole is a genre of posts on Reddit where the OP is typically asking the question, Am I the asshole? Where discussion is opened in order to decide whether it was the OP in the wrong or if it was another person or aforementioned party. These are some of my favorite stories on r/RPG horror stories because I generally believe they are a little bit more interesting, and I think it allows for some very insightful and fun discussion about who might have been in the wrong in these situations or if both parties were wrong. Well, I personally think that the answer in this one is rather obvious for most people. I think this is a rather delightful introduction to these kinds of posts for us here. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Am I the asshole for stopping to accommodate a very flaky player, causing him to leave the campaign? By user Feisty Impress. About a year and a half ago, me and a couple of friends started playing D&D 5e. We had a quasi-session 0. Since we hang out fairly often in Discord, we talked about the game a fair bit. There's also a WhatsApp group where everything gets discussed and voted for or against, in which all of us agreed to play as soon as 3 players, plus the DM, me, had time. We mixed good and evil-aligned characters. This was talked about and agreed upon before the game started. Flaky was really into the campaign at the start. He wrote a whole page of backstory, more than anyone else. One of the first main plot points revolved around a general that had tried to cause a war. The choice was either kill the general, thereby stopping the war, putting a member of an organized crime syndicate in his position, or wrecking the harbor, giving the general a cause-belli for the war, or doing something else. Once this plot point came up, Flaky started to have less and less time, which was understandable due to work-related reasons. So I tried to accommodate for this by posting doodles, asking him when he's got time so we can organize sessions around his schedule, summarizing previous sessions in the WhatsApp group and asking him what his character would like to do off-screen, letting him roll when he had time so he could still have some influence even when he's not playing. He didn't bother to fill in the doodles, wouldn't tell me when he's got time to play, and didn't know his character's abilities or what happened, and he wasn't playing properly. If he had time, something always came up a day or two before the session, so he had to cancel, or he'd join hours after the session started. It seemed like he just didn't have any commitment towards playing. Like he treated D&D as well, I won't make time for it, but if the stars align, I'll play. He liked the idea of playing D&D, but not any of the effort required to do so. Recently, he complained that he was basically irrelevant to the campaign and didn't enjoy the direction it was going. Well, no shit. You're never playing. Also, you're the good character in a party with 2 neutrals and an evil. Where did you think the campaign would go if you didn't show up? I organized a session 0.5, basically just for him, to talk about stuff like alignment shifts, in which direction the campaign was going, maybe doing a time skip or switching characters, stuff like that. He was late for that session as well, by an hour and a half. So I said fuck it. The 3 players who actually show up will do the session 0.5. We all agreed that the campaign was going well, and we didn't really feel the need to change anything. When he went online in Discord and asked, I told him that we already had the session 0.5. The majority of players agreed that the campaign was fine and are now playing. He's welcome to join. A couple of days ago, he sent me a message in the WhatsApp chat saying that he's out of the campaign. He doesn't want to be an evil campaign and doesn't like my psycho mind games. Well, I'd like to think I'm preaching to the choir when I say that the OP is definitely not the asshole in my eyes in this situation. It sounded like you tried really hard to accommodate this player and tried really hard to make it work, and it just didn't work out. And when you then said, okay, sorry, but we're gonna keep going, you're still welcome to join when you can, they decided to turn it against you and be mad about it. I wish there was more detail about that last comment because, my lord, mind games? I'm sorry, I wish I had more context to what that comment was about, but oh well. I don't want to drag this out for too long because this was a really short story, so I don't want my thoughts to take up half of the video. But I will say that whole waiting an hour and 30 minutes for them to show up for the session 0.5, that boiled something in me because I have a very, very similar experience. I remember I was running a game, granted we had a lot of players, we did, but when I ran it, This person was already like having some communication issues and wasn't really like communicating very well, but they agreed on the start date and the start time. Like they reacted to it. We know we know they saw it because they agreed to it. And when the actual game date came around, we were waiting for like at least an hour, if not more, for them to show up for the first session so we could fucking start. Everyone else was there. Everyone else was good to go. And we were just like waiting for them. I like contacted them, everything. They would not say stuff, and it sounds like this was probably a similar thing. I don't know if if Flake was like actually responding like, "Oh, sorry, running late" or not, but the way the story sounds, it doesn't sound like it. And we also just had to continue the start. The only difference was that like they just vanished and never spoke to us again. But it sounds like Flake did and was not happy that you had the audacity to continue playing despite their lack of, like appearance. Anyway, I would love to hear people's thoughts down below. Do you think the OP was the asshole or not? Do you think they're both the asshole? I would love to hear your thoughts down in those comments down below. I love to read them. But with that out of the way, I won't make this any longer. I will see you in the next video. Zodiac, out.